Hey everyone, so thought I would check back in about the whole vehicle situation. So the truck is still here. Brought it to a few different dealerships. The most I've been offered was 12 grand. I was offered 11.5 today, and yeah, so I'm still private party selling it, I guess. Hopefully, it was at 15 and I had a couple people, but nobody really super interested, so now it's down to 14. Hopefully, somebody jumps on it soon. Besides that, still got the red car. It's doing fine. I don't like it parked over there, but I'm kind of out of space right now. And then we have this SUV and, of course, the Cadillac. So, a lot of people said this thing was going to cost me an arm and a leg. But at the end of the day, it's just a GM, right? It's only going to cost you something if you bring it in to get it worked on. But no, in all seriousness, I get a lot of my parts from rockauto.com if I have enough time to order them. And so I thought we would go over just a few numbers here so you guys can see what I'm really in this for, and go from there. So we bought it for $500. I put those two crankcase sensors in for $130. Now I could have saved my money if I would have went to Rock Auto, because for these two sensors, like I said, those are $130. Put them in myself, but Rock Auto, they would have been $80. So I should have just waited, but I was impatient, I guess. So we did that, and it hasn't died on me since. It's running great. Now, what else are we doing to it? What else does it need? It needs two fog lights. Or it needed two fog lights. I want new wiper blades because these ones are smudgy. And one of these tail light bulbs up under here, right there, is bad. And then from it sitting so long, well, I don't think it's from it sitting. The rotors on the front, I'm imagining, are warped. So it still stops fine, but I thought, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to get all new brakes and rotors for it. So for me to get all new brakes and rotors for the front and rear, so 4 rotors and 2 sets of pads, it was $172 through Rock Auto. The 2 fog lights in the front came to $5 total. The 2 window wipers were $5 or $10 total, and they're actually like AC Delco, super cheap through Rock Auto. I'm not lying to you guys. And then the taillight ball through Rock Auto again, I can only order 12 of them at a time. Or sorry, 10 of them at a time, but they're 12 cents a piece, so it was $1.20 for 10 of them, which I think if you went to like Walmart, you'd probably be paying more for 2 of them. I think at Walmart they're like $1.99 or something like that, so still cheaper. So what does that bring us to? The initial buy of the car was $500. The new belt, because it burned that belt off, was $20. The sensors were $130 through O'Reilly's, so that brings us up to $650. And then the brakes, fog lights, tail light, and wipers were $200, so we're at $850. $850. Now the only thing that is wrong with this car at this point would be the AC compressor. So whether or not I want to fix that, I do not know. And the reason why I say that is I run with the windows down in the summertime, especially having that red car. The red car's AC works, but it puts such a strain on the motor, I can feel it, and it drives me nuts. Every time that compressor kicks on, you kind of feel it, and it'll drive you nuts after a while. So only on the hottest of days would I use it. And Normally I would avoid that at all costs because it would drive me nuts. But the SUV is crucial because the SUV is probably our main vehicle. It's going to be, it's the most fuel efficient vehicle that we have, and it's probably the safest vehicle that we have. So if Sam and I are going anywhere, we always bring this thing. Coming back from Duluth, I put her on 65, and she got 32 miles per gallon. At about 70, it gets mid 29, like 29.4, 29.5. The red car would get, I think I got 33 out of it, but I was like hypermiling, if you will. You know, picking really low gears and then coasting for long distances. So that's where that one is. And then the Cadillac with its nice North Star V8 motor gets about 25 on the freeway and probably 20 in the city. And well, probably 18, 16 in the city. But it's crucial because we can have rows in it. So if I'm away and I happen to need the SUV for some sort of hunting or fishing or whatever, Sam can run around town with this Cadillac. And that's also why I say that the AC doesn't really matter, because most of my hunting stuff is in the fall when it's mild out. But then also the rare occasion that I would be out during the summer and she'd have to run somewhere is probably pretty slim when you really break it down. So that's why I'm not really too worried about it. Now, if I wanted to put a compressor in, a brand new one from Rock Auto is $300. And then I would have to bring it in and have them evacuate the system and re-put the, R134 into it. I could install the pump myself. It's right on the bottom. I could literally just run the car up on my ramps and probably switch it out in a half hour maybe. It's really easy to get to. So, yeah. But for right now, the way it sits, if I put new brakes on it at that $850 mark, I think it would sell for about $2,000, if not like $2,500, because it's pretty clean. I went through and wiped it down with the leather and vinyl stuff that I have, and it's not where I really want it to be, but like the steering wheel I thought had wear on it, but it was just some dirt, and it's really a clean vehicle, so pretty happy with it. The red car here, which I bought for $500, and I did a tune-up on it and a battery, so I'm probably in it for about $750. This thing will sell for $1,000 to $1,500 all day long. I see them online all the time for that $1,500 range. So, yeah. And the funny thing is, when I put this video up, people were confused, like, why would you sell your truck? This truck is $850 a month. When I was driving it full time, that's what it would cost me, between payment, gas, and insurance. So I literally bought this car and this car, fixed them up, and they're like, this car I broke even on for 1 month of payment, but it has less miles than that truck, and it's a much fancier thing than the truck. So that's why I'm getting rid of it. Is I haven't driven it in a long time. I drove it the one day to work when Sam called me to say that she was in the she was getting admitted to have Rose. So I drove it to work that day and back, just because it was like, I haven't driven this thing in a couple weeks. I need to run it. So yeah, that's literally why. Is because a lot of people were really hating on the Cadillac. But now that it's going to be up to snuff, if an engine goes or the transmission goes, that's a whole different story. But pretty much anything else on this whole entire thing can break in a month's time, right? I mean, I could have the rear shocks blow out because they're air, and it would still be probably half as cheap. I looked them up. Like, I think they're you can do a conversion kit if you want for like $180, but otherwise, they're $200 a piece. But even at that, it's still cheaper monthly than that truck. So that's that is why. And yeah, makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So yeah, when I got this red car, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll use it as a commuter, and we'll go from there. But what happened was I drove the red car for like 3 weeks straight, and didn't even use the truck because I didn't need it. And then I thought, well, I should sell the truck then, because why do I have a vehicle that costs me $850 a month that I don't even need? And so that's where the whole idea spurred from. Now I'm just having a hard time giving it away. But that's a whole nother story, and when it happens. But yeah, so that's where we're at. I hope that's a better understanding. But this thing, other than the air conditioning, which isn't a concern right now because it's like coming into winter, $850. And I probably could have waited on the brakes, and I don't really need the fog lights, but I like my vehicles to be like 100%. The only other thing, which I should say, so I'm 100% honest, is for California emissions, under here, it's too dark probably to see, but right up in there is called a secondary air pump. And what it does is when you turn the key on, it pushes air up through and creates pressure, if you will, that gets the catalytic converter. This is how I understand it. The airflow gets the catalytic converter hotter faster, which was a California emission thing. But in Minnesota, we don't have emissions. So when I bought this, Grandpa did say the check engine light has been on forever because be something for emissions, but it never really mattered. And he couldn't even remember it. And that's what it is. It's a P0410 code, I believe, and it's the only code I have on here right now. And it causes the check engine light to kick on. The air pump itself is about $50. So what happens is it's right up under there. So being that this is a Minnesota vehicle, snow and a lot of water gets up in there and it gets into that pump. And in the winter, that pump freezes up, and then it causes an issue. Now, that pump does kick on, but I think that I was under there messing around with the those sensors, and I pulled it down wondering what it was, and water was dripping out. So I think moisture's gotten in there, and it's causing it to have an issue. And it's not like it's blowing the air straight into the intake, from what I understand. Kind of bypasses it. So my car's not going to breathe in like raw water, but that's what causes the check engine light to go on. So that's where we're at. 100% honesty on this car. Couple things that need to be done, I guess, but overall, I'll take it for $850 and drive it all day long. You'd be hard pressed to find a vehicle with 106,000 miles on it for $850. Okay, well, enough about that. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.